Hey, what's up, guys? So, it looks like I must have offended somebody at Facebook because they just ended my video. They just said, nah, man, listen, we ain't trying to hear that, man. They just straight ended it. Like, ain't no warning, nothing. Just not, when it gives you the week, nothing, it just ended. They went on and posted it on my page. I didn't do anything. It just came up. Your video has been posted. I was like, whoa. Okay, that's how we doing it. Facebook. All right, whatever. So, I would advise you to go back and look at the first part if you're just coming on. But I wanted to make sure I close this out the right way. I'm going to add both pieces to my blog, Unapologetically Keith, at keithbelvin.blogspot.com. I mean, yeah, keithbelvin.blogspot.com. That's my blog, Unapologetically Keith. So I'm going to post up the first part to this on my blog, and I'll post the second part too. So I'm going to post up both videos later on this evening. But I just want to say this in closing, as I was starting to say, is that please understand that if a child is born out of wedlock and you're not married, then you have to make sure that the two of you, and I'm speaking to men and women, have a strong understanding of what your arrangements are going to be in reference to this child's future. You have 9 months. You have 9 months to work on it and to put things in place and document it. And I know to some people you may go, but who wants to do all that? Or it's a shame that in this day and age, this is what we got to do when a woman is pregnant with a child. Such is life. If you're having a baby out of wedlock and y'all were just laying down with each other, you can't trust anything that a person says when it comes to the fate of your child. And ladies, I'm speaking to you strongly. You can't trust that he is going to do the things that he is supposed to do as a father simply because he says that. And men, you don't know what your situation is going to be from time to time. You don't know what's going to happen in your future, good or bad. Put things in place now so you know what is owed to your child's mother and you know what is responsible to go to them. Have that in place and then go on and live your life. Okay, y'all had a child, and yes, y'all now have to be stewards of that child. But you don't have to be tied to that mother forever. And she is not owed anything more than what is responsible from you to your child. You don't have to be more than that because she wants you to be. You just have to be dad to the baby. No more. That is the reason why I said earlier, take yourself to court. Don't wait. Don't let somebody drag you in where now it looks like it wasn't me. Okay. Where it looks like you're in a bad situation. Be responsible and be assertive first. Don't let somebody bring you in. And then if you do the things that I said, make sure that you have proof of conversation. Stop with all the yapping back and forth on the phone. Send an email, send a text message. Save them. Send an email saying, look, I want to pay for the Lyfts and the Ubers for you to go to your doctor's appointments because I don't feel comfortable attending them with you. And when the baby needs certain things, I'll take care of that for you. Put it in an email. That's something you can show a judge that I understood that we weren't in a relationship. I understood that I got her pregnant. So I understood that I wanted to make arrangements for her to at least get there to the doctor's appointments because I don't want to have anything to do with her. I just want to be a part of my child's life, but I didn't want to go to the doctor visits with her because I didn't want it to seem like we were a couple because I was uncomfortable. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. I was uncomfortable. Look, she was a young lady I was just sleeping with. I didn't feel comfortable going to the doctor's visits with her like that, Your Honor. So that's why I made arrangements for her to get there and to get back. I made arrangements. See, by making arrangements, you are showing yourself to be responsible. It should not be a situation where someone has to bring you in and then now you have to try to answer these questions why you didn't. It is a position of strength when you can come in and say, Your Honor, from the first month that she told me she was pregnant, I sat down and said, let's figure out what we're going to do going forward. And this is what we agreed to. Here's the email of what I offered. Here is what she said okay to. This is what I've been doing. And then once the baby was born, yes, I came to the hospital because I figured I needed to be here for the birth of my child. Now, she did not want me there and had me removed. Okay, that's all stuff that can be documented. And then when you sit down, you can work it out. Now, a judge may say, I understand you've been paying, but you do understand that you have to pay 17.5%. Yes, because that's the law. Don't try to skirt the law. What you want to try to do is while things are calm between you, bro, the mental game outside the courtroom is stressful, though. They make it seem like they want what's best, what emotions get. Well, emotions can be controlled, brother. That's not a valid excuse. What somebody else chooses to do is their business. If they choose to be emotional, that doesn't stop you from sending an email. That doesn't stop you from sending a text message. That doesn't stop you from making the arrangements offer. If it's not accepted, well, then that's why you go to court. This is a business arrangement. This ain't about emotions. Especially if it's not your wife and if it's not your husband and if it's not your boyfriend, it's not your girlfriend where y'all have this emotional bond. And even if you do, if it's not your husband and your wife, this is business. Because you can't sit down and allow emotions to be the thing that causes damage to your future when you had control. Emotions is a non-entity other than you have to deal with it, yes, but it can't dictate what you choose to do. I understand that. I have 7 kids with 6 different women. I understand it. But a lot of that has to do with who you chose to have the child with too, bro. And that's something I said in the first video. If you missed the first video, you got to watch the first video because I spoke to the men about, was it a hit off? Was it a jump off? Was it your girlfriend or was it your wife? You have to, and I said in the other video, you have to make sure that you clearly understand what was the role of the woman in your life. So when that child is conceived, you know how to move. You can't make a situation what it wasn't. If you and that woman was a hit off, you saw her at the club, the booty was fat, you ran up in it raw, and now she's pregnant, then you have to acquiesce the way you have to acquiesce. Because that baby's still gonna come. And you tried everything that you could to get her to have an abortion. She didn't. Now it's business. Now it's business. And you automatically have joint custody unless the moms can prove that there's a reason why you shouldn't have custody. And most men don't go to court to make sure that certain things that they want, same thing with visitation. See, I believe all of that should be put into writing. And you could do that long before the baby's here. Listen, here's how we're going to do it. Once the baby's here, I want to do da-da-da. You put it in writing and you send it in the email. If she says, sure, that's cool. That's a binding agreement. Stop acting like y'all cool. Stop acting like your boyfriend and girlfriend. Stop acting like you don't want to offend anybody because I don't want her to. No, listen. It's business. This business. And we done messed around and now we have now connected our business together. We got work to do. See, too many people are reacting over emotions. And then once they get to a court, see, now, Brother Wheeler, check this out. And you can speak to this. Do they allow all that emotion in court? No. Do they allow you and the mom or the mom and the husband, the boyfriend to get emotional? No. Settle down. Stick to the subject. Stick to the facts. So where's all that emotion going to get you before you walk into court? So if you already know that ahead of time, remove it from the table the best way you can before that. Once she's pregnant, it's a business arrangement. Especially if you don't have any plans on marrying her. Thank you, brother. Especially if you don't have any plans on marrying her. Y'all have a 21-year, if you're in New York City and 3 other states, a 21-year business agreement. And it comes in the form of a boy or a girl or twins. So you have to make sure that you do the things necessary ahead of time. And my thing is, just be honest. You know you're going to have to pay something. Stop trying to get out of not paying. Stop trying to convince the woman, yo, don't do this. Don't put me on child support. No. Okay. Listen, I make this. Now you're going to have to be honest. And if it's a jump off, oh, yeah, that's a hard conversation. I make $30,000 a year. 10,000 of that, 10% of that is $3,000. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to give you 30. I'm going to give you 6. I'll space it out over the 12 months and I'll make sure that you get to your doctor's appointments. Do it while things are fairly calm, because the courts don't ask you how you feel about it. This is what you're going to do. So why not, before it gets to the courts, take the courts out of the mix? Accept that you're going to pay and work it out with the other parent. Attempt to. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to accept. That woman, that man may know they got the hammer. They may know I get 17.5% of what you make. Okay, if you already know that to be the case, then start giving it to her now. So you have rights to fall back on. Your Honor, I have been giving her 17% from the day that child was born, as well as I've been doing X, Y, and Z, and I make sure that she gets to and from her doctor's appointments. The thing that she's mad about is we don't have a relationship, and I don't want one. I just want a relationship with my child. You now have strength because you're presenting an argument based on what you have been doing, not on what you have not done. A judge can now go, okay, he's coming here in need of enforcement. He's coming in here of need of help. Let me even this out. Is that true? Yes. Here's the text messages. Here's the emails. Here's the receipts. I just want to be able to put things in place so I don't have to deal with her. I just want to deal with my child because I want to be able to work the visitation out. So when my child is with me, and I don't have to worry about her. Well, you know what you did by doing the things that you were supposed to do? You gave yourself leverage. You gave yourself a voice. Now a judge goes, okay, let's do it like this. Again, the child's age may come into play also. Depending on how young a child is, a child needs to be close to the moms, needs to be connected to the moms. You got to understand that too. Those first 18 years, man, a lot is going to happen. But you may have to trade part of those 18 years for the next 65. And what I mean by that is the first 18, or really today a teenager, maybe the first 15. Moms may have the magic hammer like Thor. But if your child sees that you're invested, your child is spending the time with you that you can spend, your child is getting from you what they're supposed to get from you, your child will start to become your advocate. Your child will start to fight to see you more. And even if the mom or dad stays in the way of that, don't worry. As they get older, they will remove that block themselves. That's what I used to tell some of the men that were messed up with the courts. You may have to trade 18 to gain back the next 45 to 50 years with them. Each relationship is different. Each mother and father situation is different. It all depends on how the child was conceived. And you really need to you need to understand that. And for you guys that, if you want to read my story from Gigolo to Jesus, it's on my website, bravenpublishing.com. I talk about, actually, I even have one of the chapters in here. I talk about I even talk about becoming a father. I recognize how my misogynistic attitude was a reflection of the hatred I had for myself and was fostered by the hate I had for my absent father. I hated him for not being there for me, and I took it out on the women around me. So that self-hate was pushed into the world into such a degree that I became self-destructive and acted out in ways that were just brutal. Understand, when you look at a situation, it's very subtle at first, but it grows into something tremendous. I keep it very real with you about what was going on with me. And again, I don't really care who likes it, doesn't like it, or whatever. And actually, let me see here, because I even talk about the abortions and miscarriages. And it wasn't pleasant, but it was what it was, and it is what it is, as they say. So, like I said, I know a little something about this. When you're out here and your whole life is based on what's between some woman's legs, I understand what it is, and I understand the role that men around men like me played. Trust me, dudes ain't out here just being hoes on their own. Okay, abortions and miscarriages. Real simple. A responsible man will take the necessary precautions to avoid many of the mistakes I made. But because I was not that man, I did everything I could not to be held accountable for my actions. When I first decided to write my story, I had to decide how much of me I was going to reveal. The number of pregnancies I had a hand in that ended in abortions and miscarriages, I am not proud of. It's also a topic I tend to avoid when I do speak publicly because it is one of the most emotional aspects of my life. Even now, even as I write this, it's difficult for me to decide how to present it. So I figured the only way to do it is to be straightforward. Like I said, I had my ex-wife was having an abortion using the full RU486 pills. And I had gotten another woman pregnant at the same time. And then here I am, showing lack of emotion and empathy for her while going through this abortion at home, while knowing I had gotten another woman pregnant. Yes, I was filth. That's the reason why I wrote the book. That's the reason why I fight and work so hard to help young men and women to not be who I was. This is why I help and fight to counsel older men and women to go back and fix a lot of the things that they put into motion like I did. That's why I put it into a book. That's also why I don't stress how people feel about me. You are entitled to think whatever you want. You are entitled to delete me. You are entitled to sit here and go, I'm not listening to no whorish of a man who is just out here doing whatever. And you know what? You are entitled. But I put into this book who I was because I wanted you to understand that I do understand. I do. I understand what it is to look a woman in the face and tell her, you should have an abortion because I'm going to make a horrible father. Don't do this because you don't want to get caught. Because you don't want folks to know you got that chick pregnant. You don't want to be no father. I know what it is to walk into Choices, and my folks in New York City know what Choices is. That's an abortion mill. Well, yes, because men, I'm 49, bro, but you know what it is? Us men live similar lives, so that's why we're connected. But I know what it's like to walk into Choices with chick B, and the woman behind the counter looks at you and says, she gives you a face like, wasn't you just here last week or the week before with chick A? Yeah. But she knows she can't because professionally that's not what she's allowed to do. Let me give you something else. And I ain't mean to turn this into my book, but I want you to understand that I know what I'm talking about. Players will try to turn the situation around to their advantage. They will use a woman's emotions about the situation to play directly into that by making it seem as if you make this choice. If you don't make this choice, you lose me, which is the worst thing a man can do because there's no reason to place a woman in that situation when you've already created the pregnancy through foolishness. It didn't make any sense, but it was my only weapon. If this game was going to work to my advantage, I needed to go all the way with it. So I really turned on the negativity. Once I had broken Kimberly down emotionally, and again, my wife changed all the names because I didn't want to put anybody's business out in the street. Once I had broken Kimberly down emotionally, she gave in. Fine. I don't want to have your baby. I don't want to have anything to do with you. Days later, I was hanging out with a friend and I was telling him about the situation with Kimberly and how I was happy she decided not to have the baby. Like I mentioned earlier, most of the time when you know a stupid guy, he has stupid friends that fuel his foolishness. He asked me, how do you know she really had the abortion? Now I had this sick feeling in my stomach. He continued, you know women lie, and she could be sitting around pregnant right now, and you turn out to be a father later. I decided to pay Kimberly a visit that day, the day of her appointment to terminate the pregnancy. She looked around, and she was clearly, as she looked tired, she was clearly in pain. I could see it in her face. The more I thought about it, the more it hurt to know I placed a woman in this situation. I've placed women in this situation so many times. A sensible person would have shown some concern and compassion, but this wasn't about her. This was about me. All I was concerned about was whether or not she did what she was supposed to do. I made small talk and we laid on the couch. Well, how did things go? She said it went okay. Everything was taken care of. Yes, but how do I know that? I asked her with the most insensitive face anyone could fathom. But hey, it went along with the territory. Most men who are sleeping with multiple women do not have compassion needed in this type of situation, and they don't show any care at all, and they're definitely not sincere. They just fake the sensitivity very well to get what they wanted. And it actually goes on to explain how she showed me the receipt from the abortion, and it said TOP. And I remember saying, what the hell is TOP? What is that? You were supposed to get an abortion. It don't say abortion, it says TOP. And this is to show you how ignorant and how stupid I was. She screamed at me, termination of pregnancy, asshole. Get out my house. No problem. I got what I wanted. Proof that she did what she was supposed to do. And I left. Here's the crazy part. That was 1987, 86, 87. Me and that young lady ran into each other in 99, in 98, 99. And she told me how negative some things had worked out in her life. And we drummed up conversation, and we were able to pick up and mess with each other again. And the whole time that we're messing around before we got to doing something, she decided to share with me that she was unable to have children because of the abortion that she had with me. Now, here's my thing. Why are you even in this position? Why are you even about to lay down with me after what I did to you? It's because most men who pick their victims, they pick their victims well. So when I tell you, I understand, ladies, what a lot of these men are thinking because I was him. And men, when I tell you or chastise you for the things that I know to be the truth, it's because I was him. I was going to do everything I could to get out of paying child support with Kimberly. And it worked. What I didn't realize that in trying to get out of paying child support for Kimberly, I was going to ruin aspects of Kimberly's life. That she was not going to be able to have children any longer. So at 20 something years old, messing with me at 19, she gave up her ability to have children because of a procedure with a guy that she should have never been with. So when I tell you, I know what feelings and emotions child support, the idea of child support, the idea of being a father or mother create, I do. But you still have to understand the situation that you're in. And so you have to know, let me say this here. You have to know that what I'm giving you comes from a place that I don't have to purge anymore. I did that with the book. I do that in everything that I do in terms of the students that I've helped since then and the kids that I work with, as well as the adults I work with, how I live my life, and the fact that once I gave my life to God, I don't go backwards and beat myself up. I go forward to try to help other people not go down the road that I went, or to pull themselves back from the road that I was on, because I know where it's going to end up. I don't do these videos for the numbers of likes. Actually, I don't care about the numbers of likes. I don't care how many people watch it. I know that someone watching needs what I just talked about. I know that somebody watching these two videos needed to hear this before they went into court this week, or as they're trying to figure out their Thanksgiving situation. Do I call the baby mama and ask to get my kids or whatever? And child support is at the root of that. Because if you owe child support, well, that's going to affect the relationship with the parent. If you're not paying your child support, that's going to affect the relationship with the parent. If you're paying child support and it's not being used, that's going to affect the relationship with the other parent. If you're paying child support and your kids don't seem to get what they're supposed to get, it's going to affect the relationship with the parent. If you're paying child support to one young lady and you have a child with somebody else, it's going to affect both relationships. If you're paying child support to multiple children, but the first one who took you to court gets more money than the other ones, it's going to affect. So child support, paying for your children in whatever form or fashion, is going to have some type of emotional effect. My job is just to try to give that some understanding and hope some wisdom to it. I don't get happy or celebrate who I used to be. I don't get as sad as I used to. I pay my responsibilities. I take care of my responsibilities. And I don't have a relationship with my son's mothers. We are cordial. My son in Maryland, cordial. My sons from my ex-marriage, cordial. My first two kids, we don't really talk. My son's mother, she's here on Facebook. We speak occasionally, and when we've had to come across each other at different events and stuff like that, we're cordial, but we don't have a relationship. I already told you about the child who her mother doesn't even want to come clean and say that I'm the father, because then she has to come clean to everything that she was doing 20 something years ago. And after a while, people start to figure it out, because the more I talk, the more they start to put together, wasn't he with? That's not for me. If that person wants to out themselves, every name in my book has been changed to protect those who don't want to tell the truth. It is not my job to expose anyone. It is my job to expose myself, and in the best that I can, not hurt other people. Now, with my ex-wife, is different because that's public knowledge. Everybody know who I was married to, and they know the name. So when I say my ex, they already know. So there's no reason for me to change her name in the book, because everybody knew who my ex-wife was. And I don't need permission from her to give my truth about how I saw our marriage. But women that I was dating, and women that I have been involved with in a bad way, I don't put their names out, because I don't want their significant other of today to know what they used to be or who they were if they haven't shared that with them. And I'm going to do a video on the abortions and miscarriages, and how dudes just don't understand, because it's a very difficult conversation to have, and I'm okay with having it. I've had it with many women and sat with many women, as well as I've sat with many of the women that I have had my situations with, and we're able to talk. And I think that's something that men need to understand, how devastating that request is. When you ask a woman to abort a child because you're worried about being a father, or worried about paying child support. And I would say to any man, don't don't let that push you to push a woman into a situation she may not be ready to make. You have no idea. I'm going to say this again. Men, you have no idea the physical, emotional, and spiritual damage that you're doing to a woman who you've conceived a child with, who you're now saying to her, abort. No, I'm not pro-abortion now. And yeah, it seems hypocritical after all that I've been a part of. I'm not. It took me a while to open up my eyes. Child support and being a father is not worth asking any woman to make that sacrifice. If she chooses to, I would try to talk her out of it. But if she chooses to, it's her right. But I would say I don't believe in it. I would say have the child and we'll figure it out. But that's a religious conversation for another day. So when it comes to child support, men and women, the minute that you are pregnant and y'all are not married, y'all are in a business agreement. And what's going to come from that business agreement depends on what foundational things that you put in place and what things that you do. And like any business, the better the records are, the better opportunity that you have to see things come out positive. If you lack good records, the business will become bankrupt and you will be sitting in front of support enforcement. And a magistrate will make the decision on what is best for the kid, and they're not going to worry about how you feel, because it is going to be based on your financial ability to take care of your child. How you feel is not going to come into play. That's why so many men walk out so angry. They didn't get a chance to speak. They didn't get a chance to say the little things, that the text messages, and they didn't get a little chance to talk about the snide remarks, and she didn't get a chance to talk about the threats and everything like that. It's about the money. You have a chance to fix that from the beginning, not even sleeping with the person. From the middle, understanding that you did sleep with them and now they're pregnant, to the end. Now the child's here. What you gonna do? You have a chance to fix that all the way through if you choose to. But it's on you. It's up to you. Now, I would hope that every man finds a woman like Tiff who stuck with me through all that foolishness that I was dealing with, losing our own child to a miscarriage, to staying together long enough to get married and have a child. But with that said, I will continue to keep my hand extended to the women that I have dealt with in the past to try to help with the pain that I helped caused. And I'm not going to put their names out there to put them on blast. But Kimberly from the book is not the only woman who had an abortion and is no longer able to have children. It actually turned out to be 3. And when you sit and think that you took from some woman something that God gives them the ability to do because you wanted something that fit you, you can try to remain emotionless if you want. When you really start to think about it, you actually realize that there's no reason for you to still be on this earth. But you're here. And so the only thing that you can do, because God allowed you to be here, is to offer as much back that you can. And sometimes the best thing to offer is nothing. Keep your mouth shut and leave them alone. You've already apologized. Leave it alone. Let them go off and be whatever they're going to be, and let them try to distance themselves from you as much as possible. Don't dredge them up to try to dredge up emotions because you need absolution. Leave them alone. Let them go. And I'm speaking to the men. You have no idea. And most men have never actually sat with a woman after the fact. Yeah, they've gone through it. Yeah, they've sat there when she laying on the couch of the bed in pain. I'm talking about months, years later. The emotional, physical, and spiritual damage that was done. And how that tilted the scales one way or the other. And how some of these women that you're meeting and wonder why she's so loose is because she didn't start off that way, but she lost a part of herself because of a decision she made because of someone like you, someone like me. And men, most of you have never been raised in environments where you understand your role as a father. No one should have to pull money out your pocket for your responsibilities. No one should have to fight with you to be a father and take care of your children. No one should have to pull teeth if your child needs something. Before their mouth even finishes with the statement of your son needs what they need. What don't he have? And you should be kicking yourself if you didn't put yourself in a position before she even had to make that call. But I'm going to say to you this as I close. God is greater than you realize, but God also leaves you to your own memories of the things that you did as reminders to not go back down that road. So those feelings of pain don't disappear. They become shunted in directions as motivation. So my pain for what I did to the women in my life didn't disappear. It just became motivation to try to help ease the pain that I placed a lot of women in. And I asked God for the grace of knowledge to be able to help present information that helps men not do what I did, as well as to help pull women from that pit that many a man has placed them in, and then also trying to help women who are in pain, in physical, emotional, and spiritual pain, how to get past that, to not pour that into the child. And believe it or not, child support triggers all this. It is because of our love of money, or our feelings about money. I'm not going to say love, because the root of all evil is in the love of money, not money itself. So when you talk about money, the emotions connected to money is what drives a lot of the behaviors that we have. My goal, and with God's help, is to reach as many people to help them understand there's a way past that. There's a way to lay that to rest where it's not driving the car. It's going to stay in the car now, but we're going to try to get it to the trunk. For some of us, it's driving, and for some of us, it's the hood ornament. It's way out in front of us. It's the thing that people see long before they get to even know us as a person. That pain, that angst is out there as a hood ornament, like with a hammer in its hand. And then for some, it's just driving the car, and it's trying to run over as many people as possible and put them in as bad a situation as they feel. My job is to offer my pain in a transparent way, to be able to show you that there's a way past that pain. And it's not me. It's through my faith that God kept me here for a reason, because I should be dead. I'm not going to lie to you. There's nothing to hide there. I should be dead. So I have no problem paying my child support. I don't complain about it. I just do what I'm supposed to do, because it is a blessing to even be in a position to pay, because I could be and should be dead. So ladies, when you sit with that man, understand that there's a lot that you don't see that's going into how he's acting. And men, when you sit with that woman, understand that there's a lot that you don't see and why she's acting the way she's acting. But once you have conceived a child, it is no longer about the two of you. It is about doing what is right for this child that is going to be here soon. And child support is just one of the legs that must be under the table for things to go right. It is your responsibility. It is what you must do. It is what you must pay. If you have any questions, any concerns, if you want to reach out to me, my email is mainoffice@bravenpublishing.com. If you want to purchase my book to read the rest of my hideous story, it's From Gigolo to Jesus, K.L. Belvin. It's on my website, bravenpublishing.com, BRAVIN, publishing.com. You'll see the name as my logo, my profile logo. Just click on it. You'll be able to see the name, and it's bravenpublishing.com. And my books From Gigolo to Jesus are there on the website. If you would like me to come and speak, my voicemail number is on my website. By all means, reach out. And actually, I'll give it to you right now. Hang out. And I'm also a counselor. So if you need assistance, if you need someone to talk to because you've been holding on to emotions that are just difficult, connected to the subject matter that I brought up. Oh, you're welcome, Adrian. Thank you. And thank you, Pastor Roberts. I'm sorry I missed you. And Brother Charles, I see that you posted. Appreciate it. My voicemail number is, let me give it to you, 347-921-0443. That's my office visit voicemail number. By all means, reach out if you would like me to pray for you. If you want to talk, if you just want to voice your negativity with how I live my life, by all means, go ahead. My email address is mainoffice@bravenpublishing.com. That's also on the website, bravenpublishing.com. And understand that I understand. If you need me, if you're not comfortable with things that you've done in your past and you need somebody to talk to, reach out. I'm a counselor. I'll schedule a counseling appointment with you. We'll set up something. Normally, counseling sessions are an hour. We can set up something. They're reasonably priced. I try to make them effectively priced. Um, so I try to make it available. We can do it over the phone. We can do it by Google Hangout, or we can do it by Skype. So we can speak. I would rather do it that way so I can see you and you can see me and we can have a conversation. Or if you feel more comfortable just speaking on the phone, I am in the Delaware area, Dover, Delaware area. So if you need, or you're close to Dover, Delaware, and you want to sit down to meet, to have a face-to-face, I can counsel with you that way also. Understand that I am a man of faith, which means I am a Christian. And so a lot of what I do is based on my connection to the Christian faith. So yes, I'm going to say to you that I don't believe in abortions because I believe that. But if that is the choice that you're going to make, I'm going to explain to you that it is still your choice to do what you choose to do, and you have to live with the outcomes of it. But I will definitely still try to help you to understand the outcomes of those choices, or to deal with the outcomes of those choices, because this is what I'm here for. So when it comes to child support, if you're about to go into a child support hearing, brothers, reach out. I do consultation on that too. I can explain to you what you need to say and do to at least give yourself a better chance at the outcome in the child support situation. And whatever I can do, by all means, I'm here. Reach out. I'm a professional and we can sit down and do things in a professional manner. So I want to thank everybody who has watched this second video. If you missed the first video, you can go back and there will be on my blog, Unapologetically Keith. That is the name of my blog, Unapologetically Keith, and it is at keithbelvin.blogspot.com. I thank you for taking the time out to listen to me on both of these videos. Please share this with as many brothers and sisters that you believe need it, and I am here if they need my assistance. God bless.